Hey guys, it's been quite a while to the last fly I tied with you, but today we tie an Colored Pike Streamer, and it is a fly I was recently fishing a lot and had quite good results with, so I thought I might be making a short tutorial here. So we start to tie on a Partridge Universal Predator X. Just put a little bit of super glue on the shank. Just go down the hook shank in wide open turns, and I prepared already a stinger hook with some Bauer 55 LB titanium wire and tail connector in the end, and we'll tie it in like that, hook point pointing up. And we're using a wiggle tail in XXL, as in my intention these ones push a little bit more water than the dragon tails, like these ones, but therefore you need to be a little bit quicker in stripping the fly to get a decent movement in the water, especially now when the water temperatures are getting warm again. I prefer these kind of tails. So anyway, when I attach my wire, I always put a good portion of super glue at the end, so it gives them some extra protection. And go around that length. I always have kind of the same length as I have the handle here. That's where I place my hook, but you have to just find your own desired length, and if you want to keep the length always the same size, then I'll probably just make a mark anyway here with a permanent marker. So we just go down now, a few wraps. Some people stick it through here. I like to reverse them in the middle, as this is the part that I cover with the chenille, so it doesn't matter if it's a little bit thicker here, and then the hook front where I do my head later on stays a little bit thinner, so I prefer to turn it around here already. Just one to the left hand side, just a few wraps on the other side. And just take the plier and just cut it short like that. Watch a little bit at the end, as the titanium wire has a tendency to cut through your thread, but yeah, so like that, that's fine. If you want to get the hook a little bit up, if you use, for example, thinner wire, maybe not an inky in 35 LB, just as an example, you can just go underneath a few wraps and just lift it up a bit like that. So what we want to do then is we want to start with our tail. Therefore I use some Bucktail. This is don't know, I think it's Bauer Premium Select Bucktail. So we just take a bunch out of here. Just make sure when you buy it that you got some nice long straight hairs. It's the best for streamers. And just remove the shorter hairs and the fluff out of the bucktail, and then pinch it together and place it where you want it. I want it here right at the end, and I just put it on top and then loosen my grip a little bit, and then I can slide it down and distributes around the hook. 2-3 loose turns, and I can just pull it tight. That. And these you can either cut, but I'll just cover them with a few thread wraps. Just saves a little bit of mess, and I really doesn't make any much difference if I have a little bit more bulk here. So now we want to do the tail, and to get a little bit more volume and play in the tail, I just use a bit of Squimpish hair, just a small amount. Just cut it and brush the end out, and then you can see the length. Just pull the tips out and align them again. And then just tie it in reverse. Work it around the hook shank a little bit with your fingers, and then tighten it. And you can just take a brush, brush it a little bit backwards, grab it with your fingers, and just stroke it gently backwards. Be careful with the stinger hook though. Just catch it with a few strong wraps, like that. And you got this nice volume in your tail section. And now we use a little bit Hadron polar flash, just to get a little bit bling in the tail as well. So maybe take, let's say, 10 strands. Don't really need much of this stuff. Maybe it's even a bit more, but it doesn't really matter. So we just place it on top of here, just spread it a little bit around, and then just reverse all the material. And tie it down, like that. And if you want, you can just brush the flesh into the material. And what we do now, so we take some Metz feathers. Take any feathers you like, but I like these ones here. And just let this one drop in. Just pull it down. And then you can search your feathers. As we're in the tail right now, I don't need them to be super long. So I'll just grab these two, and then I align them and snip them up of the same length. So now they're even in lengths, and then I place one on this side. Always tie them a little bit upwards. And then the other side. Like that. Just fold the tips back, give it 2 strong wraps so they are double secured, and just tighten everything. Now I take my polar reflector flash, the last bit that's remaining of it, just to cover all this middle part. This keeps my volume up, but also keeps my my fly really light, so it's not a really problem to cast it. It doesn't take much water, so just tie it in and give it a few wraps around. And usually I'll do that till the point the titanium's doubled, because after that I have a really nice round hook check again, and I can tie all my stuff nicely in. Because, for example, if you tie Bucktail now on this one here, and you don't have it really round due to the titanium that you folded back, it's always it's always more difficult to get it really nice round and especially if you tie it reversed. So now, as we have this one covered, we give it a little bit more bucktail to cover this bit here. So we just take a bit of the lower part of the bucktail, so that's a bit more hollow and it will rise a little bit more than the one from the top. Again, we remove the fluff from underneath. This time we tie it in reverse. And I also don't remove these parts here because they give my fly a little bit support for the, or they give the bucktail in the front when I reverse it now support and make it a little bit more denser, so it will push more water, and I quite like that. So we reverse that one here, and then I'll just, instead of tying in front of it, I'll just tie on top of it just a few strong wraps, and then we'll rise again. And then with some looser wraps, I can now adjust the angle of my bucktail like that. A little bit of super glue now, so the thread is not sliding down here. And just adjust the angle a little bit more. Like that. It's getting wet. We'll lay it down like that. So now we take some pink feathers. These ones look quite good. It's always easier if you hold it like that. You see the length of the feathers, and you can pick them out. And these are pretty similar. So, like that. One in here and one on the other side. Always make sure that you tie on the right side. One is a little bit more shiny. That's the side we want to have on top. Just tie that down. And now we use some of this slinky fiber, and we just make a little brush and just fill the gap a little bit here with a little bit of it. So we have a short amount, which is though quite thick, and gives the fly a little bit of volume. And pushes a bit water. So we just take a small amount and then we cut it in quarters, so half and half, like that. Now lay aside for a second, take our dubbing twister, make a nice loop here. So I hope you can see that, and that's in focus. But we take that one here and place it in here. Just hold it a little bit upwards and under tension so it's closed. and then we just spread it within the dubbing loops. Just once we've done that, we can just spin it. You can see that like that. So we just spin it a few times, and that's, as this is a really stiff and thin synthetic fiber, you have to brush it out quite early so it spreads a little bit more within the loop, and then spin it again until it's tight. And if you want to know it's tight, you can just pull it here, and if it's still moving, you have to spin it a little bit more, and if you think it's getting too much tangled, then you just give it another brush and keep on spinning. Now this is tight now, so I've spun it enough. Now we just wind it slowly with tight wraps around the hook shank, and make sure to keep the tension up. Always reverse the fibers so we are not winding on top of the others, and make sure that they all point upwards later and give us the volume that we want to achieve with this. And then just catch the thread and cut it. Now we can brush that out again. And have a quite voluminous head section that pushes quite a bit of water. So what we do now is we make this head even a little bit thicker, and therefore we take the ripple ice fiber in once in the electric in pink, and one time the ripple ice fiber in pink. So let's start with the you don't have to take too much, just a little bit on top. And a little bit for the belly. And this is really increasing our volume here in the head section. That's really what we want to have, is a really bulky head. So we tie on top of that. Now the ripple ice in pink. Just on top. So there were just some remainings of an old bag. That's why they were a bit shorter. worse them as well, just tie on top. And now we have this really thick head now, and it's quite dense, and push some water, and that's really good when you fish for pike. Now we take some of Monstered Up. Yeah, Monstered Up, or we take the pink. Just to line the fibers a bit. Now we tie that in front of the ripple ice fiber on the hook shank. Just do that in a few steps. So let's get nice and even spread. Just tie it down, and I like just to brush my front section out a bit, just to mix it up a bit, and the back section as well, before I combine it, just so I have a little bit more space in the middle where I put my glue now. Because we have only this small piece for getting the glue in, we take the glue and put it on the thread, because when we put the glue on the dubbing, we'll get some stiff parts on the head, and it doesn't look that nice. Doesn't make a big difference in fishing, but it just doesn't look that good. And then we just wind the super glue onto the thread wraps, make a knot in it, and then the fly is kind of finished. Now we only have to brush back the dubbing so the thread wraps are hidden. And then take a little hair clamp, just get that really tight, remove the fibers in the front that are sticking out, little flesh bits, as they just get in the way when we glue it. And for glue, we just use the epoxy, 5-minute epoxy. And just make sure that you mix it up really good. If you have 5 minutes to work with, so take at least 2 minutes mixing, 2.5 minutes for mixing, and you'll be fine. So then we just hold it like that and really work the epoxy into the fibers. Just take our eye tool and let it set. And if you want to have the eyes a little bit flatter, you can also take the hair clamp and just, as it has a little bit more force, So now the epoxy is more or less finished with drying and solid, so you just brush the head once more, and then this shape now we form with a little bit of gold. I'm just using the fat man because my flex man is empty, but does the same trick. So just get some drops in here, like that. Just get it in there. Shape your head a bit. Get it in the shape you want it. And you have it. You just hit it with the flashlight, with the UV light. Same thing. We'll do quickly on the other side as well. Just hit it with a torch. The easy way is to push it in with your fingers and then spread it while holding the fibers here, and just move it gently upwards away from the hook eye, and then you can hold it in the shape you want it and hit it again with the flash, with the UV light. And then you have really a rock solid head. And a finished fly that you can either fish with a wiggle tail or dragon tail. In the winter I prefer dragon tail. Now the water has 11 degrees again, so you can easily fish it with a big wiggle tail. I think the size XXL. Really like that one. So have fun tying it.